I'm standing here at Tattnall Square Park in Macon, Georgia. But before I say anything else, I want to tell you this. June 19th of every year goes by without the proper kind of recognition in many cases that it should get. Because June 19th is the day that Juneteenth is celebrated. Now, too many people don't really understand the history behind the celebration of Juneteenth. Well, now in 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. But that didn't just automatically free everybody. Slaves just left the plantation with a pack on their back. In some instances, it was 2 years later that actually slaves were freed. Now, it started in Galveston, Texas, and that's how Juneteenth kind of came about, because in Galveston, Texas, the Union Army was able to let everybody know that, slavery was over and that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed. But just because it had been signed, oftentimes laws are written, but they don't go into effect. Now, we standing here at Tattnall Square Park. Well, guess what? Tattnall Square Park has a significance as it relates to Juneteenth, because in April of 1865, the county commissioner signed some papers, and, that's when we were officially free. I want you to understand that Juneteenth is something that everybody should observe. And before I forget, we're going to be observing Juneteenth right here in Macon, Georgia for a whole week. Go to douglastheater.org, www.douglastheater.org, and get the schedule. Although a lot of people were freed, many of them, some of them died, some of them starved, even some of them went back to the plantation. So we need to acknowledge the struggles of our ancestors, and we need to commemorate and observe what had to happen in the fight that has gone on for years. Now, one way we can join the fight is by observing Juneteenth, is by understanding the kind of plight that our ancestors went through, and by also committing, I'll say that again, committing to play a role in the observance of Juneteenth. And, there are Juneteenth celebrations going on all across the nation. It's a federal holiday. But whether it's a holiday or not, you ought to make it your holiday by being involved civically, economically, politically, socially, religiously. Let Juneteenth be a reminder that we all need to observe it, and we all need to play a role in the observance of Juneteenth, like we're doing here in Macon, Georgia, for a whole week. You can observe it and participate in what's happening in your community. For those of you who don't know, I'm Alex Havisham, publisher of the Macon, Georgia Black Pages. We are observing 35 years of publishing. I got my 35th anniversary. Pat myself on the back for that, just kidding. And then, if you want to help me to observe, you can click a link in the comments and buy a congratulatory tribute. So my advice to you, don't just stand there, do something. Let's get it fixed in 2026.